Hey guys, Pro 1701, and it's here once again. It's been a little while, but it's Armageddon. The aliens have returned. And this time, they are demanding episodes from the Jodie Whittaker era. And I know what a lot of you are thinking. Not the Jodie Whittaker era! That's right, the Jodie Whittaker era. And they have decided that we are only allowed to keep 5 episodes from the Jodie Whittaker era. Not 5 stories, 5 episodes. So like Spyfall would count as 2 episodes if you wanted both parts. So we're only allowed to keep 5. The aliens are taking the rest with them. Also, a new pair of glasses. Let me know what y'all think. This is the first pair of bifocals I've ever owned. I have reached the bifocal stage of my life. It is humbling. But I knew I was there, so here we are. Also, I know some of you are immediately going to be down in the comments going, they can take them all! But keep in mind that if we jump up there and we try to negotiate by saying, take all of them, they might get suspicious. They might say, is this era any good? And we'll be like, sure! I mean, it does have its moments. There are Whittaker episodes I like. Those will be the ones I'll be talking about, some of them. And some of them I even like Whittaker in. I kid. I'm not a big fan of Whittaker's Doctor, but she definitely has moments where she shines in the role. But we don't want them to get suspicious. They might start taking some from the other Doctors, which by this point you figured they'd have all the episodes, but... So we want to make sure we lull them into a false sense of security that they're getting something better than they are. So we're going to keep 5 of them, because they said we could keep 5, so we're going to go through and we're going to keep 5. And I can find 5 Jodie Whittaker episodes I like. There are some good ones in there. Number 1 on the list, Power of the Doctor. I actually really do enjoy Power of the Doctor. As I've said before, it's really the modern Who equivalent to the 5 Doctors. It really is. The plot is not the most solid plot in a Doctor Who ever, but it's less about that and more a celebration of Doctor Who up to that point. Because again, when they were making the 50th, they didn't know if that was going to be the final episode or not. So they really go out on a bang with it. And it really does feel like this coming together to celebrate Doctor Who. It celebrates Doctor Who better than the actual 60th anniversary episodes celebrated all of Doctor Who. Even better than the 50th anniversary really celebrated all of Doctor Who. It's great to bring Tegan and Ace back. It's great to know that that both of them enjoyed working on the episode and that it meant a lot to both of them. And to have the previous Doctors coming back. Yes, I wish we could have gotten Tom. And I appreciate the fact they reached out to Tom. I wish he would have done it. But I'm happy seeing Peter and Paul and Colin and even David Bradley and Sylvester, seeing them back. Those wonderful moments where 5 and 7 get to interact with Ace and Tegan is fantastic. I really enjoyed that. And like I said, it's not perfect by any means, but it's enjoyable. Plus it has a really nice regeneration at the end. So I would definitely keep that one. Number 2 on my list is the Tesla episode. You guys know I love the Tesla episode. A lot of that is down to the guy playing Tesla. That is a George C. Scott as Patton level performance. Because I think when most people think of Patton, they don't think of Patton. They think of George C. Scott playing Patton. And I'm kind of like this now with Tesla. I don't think I think of Tesla. I think of this guy playing Tesla. And he just nails it. I do enjoy the story. I also like the guy playing Edison. I think he's really good in the role. It's very, very enjoyable. And I like the fact that everybody's kind of fanboying over Tesla a little bit. And then it has a nice positive ending. Unlike, say, Vincent and the Doctor, which is a bit of a downer ending. I like that it has a positive ending with Tesla having that, that line about, and the future is mine. And I love that. It's a great ending. I always say that the Tesla episode is Vincent and the Doctor done right. It's a much better episode, in my opinion. Next on the list is the Ghost Monument. I like the Ghost Monument. I mean, there's a few in Series 11 I like. I think Series 11 is arguably the worst season the show has ever done. But I do like Demons of the Punjab. I do like Kerblam. And I like Ghost Monument. Part of that is the guest actors. I actually really like the guest performances in this story quite a bit. They work really, really well. I'm actually quite pleased with how they turned out. Especially the three main guests, the man, the woman, and then the guy who's running everything. They're fantastic. They really sell this. I love the living bandages because, one, I just think kind of living almost like mummy bandages are really cool as a concept. Two, as I've talked about before, it does remind me of an episode of Thundercats that has living bandages in it, which is really pretty neat. And then the Ghost Monument being the TARDIS, which I called watching that episode, I thought was a nice little twist. And then it has its faults. I don't really care for the new interior of the TARDIS, but that's not really just the episode's fault. And then the bit about the water being dangerous, I think that's a cool thing, but I hate that it never really touches on that again. But it's still a really solid episode. Next on the list is Fugitive of the Jadoon. And of all of these, of my 5, this is the one that would be most swappable, where maybe I'd swap it out and swap something else in. But I like Fugitive of the Jadoon. It is a roller coaster of a story. It truly is. So much is going on. Woo-wee. I'm really having to adjust to these glasses. Bifocals. Never had bifocals. That is, when I turn my head, it's a little weird. I have a feeling I'm going to have a headache for a few days while I adjust to them. But it's a roller coaster of a story. It really is. I think Jo Martin's great. When she's playing Ruth and when she's playing the Doctor, I think Jo Martin would be a very good Doctor. I like her a lot. There's definitely some Capaldi in her, which I believe she's on the record saying that, she took some inspiration from Capaldi. And then I just like that it keeps you guessing. Especially on a first watch, it's an impressive story, but it holds up under rewatches for me too. I find it very enjoyable to watch, and it's great to see Jack back again. I do like Jack a lot. And the last one on the list for me is Can You Hear Me? I find this one very enjoyable. I love both of the actors playing the 2 God characters, but especially the male one because we get more time with him, and he's just creepy in places, especially when him and the Doctor are having that one interaction where she's like, "You're just a legend." He's like, "I blush." And then Whittaker probably has her best scene in the role, and she nails this, 100% nails this scene. I will give her that. When she confronts them at the end, and they're like evil gods of terror, and she's just like, "I'm the Doctor," and she totally owns that scene. Now, there's a little Deus Machina going on in the sense that, or at least the biggest plot hole, if you don't want to call it Deus Machina, the fact the screwdriver can hack those fingers. The thing doesn't work on wood, but it can hack the fingers of gods. I have a little problem with that. It seems a little too easy, and it's an example of the Sonic being a little overpowered. But other than that, I love the fact it shows us, what happens when the companions aren't home and how the world can kind of go on around them and pass them by. And Ryan, all the stuff Ryan's having to deal with, and Yaz is having, and Graham are kind of having to deal with in that episode is really solid. It's a well-made episode that it's not just a good episode of the Whittaker era, it's a good episode of Doctor Who. So those are the 5 I would keep. I mean, there's a couple others I like as well that are tempting, but if I could only keep 5, those would be my 5. I want to know what you think of my choices and which 5 you would keep. So comment down below and let's talk about it. Don't forget to click the like button and the subscribe button as well. I also have a Patreon if you'd like to support me on that. There is a link to that down there as well. I also have a P.O. box. If there's anything you'd like to send me to look at and review, would love to get some more of these collection sets. I know I have the Season 22 set on the way from Simon, which I'm very excited about. The Season 22 set has one of my favorite art. The front art, is one of my favorites. It's awesome. And then I also have a link to the Amazon wishlist and a link to the Amazon UK wishlist down there as well. I want to give a shout out to some of my top tier patrons: Colin Coney, Sam Venning, Finn Perkins, and Unknown 289 and Androzani Major. I appreciate their support, as I do the support of all of my patrons. Most importantly, thank you for watching.